Okay. Hello, everybody, and good evening. It is about 7:05 in the evening here in Egypt, where I'm living, and I'm really honored to be one of the guest MCs for tonight's festivities and the different panels. So, first of all, welcome to this very special panel discussion, which is under one of our special themes called Investment Success Stories. So, this is going to be a really exciting, interesting, and worthwhile panel that we're going to be sharing tonight. It's really important to hear how people have succeeded, what their pain points are, and what their successes are, and what little things they can pass along. This year's Vested 2021 Summit is themed harvest and investment. So we're looking back at the past 10 years and looking forward to the next 10 years to learn how we can just up our games and really bring more capital and more businesses and more startups and more beauty and success, especially here to the Middle East. So this is the world's largest conscious tech summit. I'm happy to be here. I just want to share a few points before we get started, and I just introduce our panelists. Number one, please tune in. You've got Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube. We're broadcasting in a lot of different places. You're welcome to join us in any of those formats. Please also ask questions, leave comments, leave inspirations. We want to know what you're thinking, so please do ask questions. And lastly, if you'd like to join some of the speakers after we talk, please write in these channels that you would like to be part of that, and let the staff here know. And also, obviously, a big thanks to all the behind-the-scenes people who are helping us do this. So here we go. We're going to do this panel discussion. Investment Success Story, the AUC Angels. And we've got two speakers, Mariam Kamel, the manager of AUC Angels, and Ahmed Mahmoud Abdeen, the founder and CEO of ElGameya. And our moderator is Hala Gabr, the partner and VP from aleUp Ventures. So have a wonderful talk. Take it away. Everyone's excited to hear about success. Absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Brett. Thank you for the great introduction and for reminding our audience of the great, for asking questions and for also the theme of the summit, which is also something that we're going to talk about throughout our discussion today. So welcome, my dearest guests, Mariam. It's a pleasure to have you again. Always a great partner for aleUp Ventures and also Vested Summit. Tarek, Sherif, and Ahmed, thank you for tuning in and accepting our invitation. It's so wonderful to have you and exciting as well to be sharing your story for everyone in the region. Because again, from this particular track in Vested Summit, we really want to tell more of our stories. We want to, propagate the behind the scenes, the backstage ins and outs, and what is happening in the kitchen that makes you at the end of the day, and what makes your business your business. So thank you so much. And with that, I would love to first give the floor to each and every one of you to tell us a little bit about who you are in the startup that you're doing, and Mariam as well to introduce AUC Angels. I know that AUC Angels is the very first university-based angel investor network in the region. So maybe you tell us a little bit about it and the audience who don't know you.
Thank you so much, Hala, and everybody at aleUp Ventures. Really happy to be with you guys for the Vested Summit. So yes, like you said, AUC Angels is first university-based angel network in MENA region. We work in conjunction with AUC Venture Lab, which is an accelerator program at the AUC School of Business. For those that don't know AUC, that is the American University in Cairo. So yeah, we're one of the newer angel investor networks, but have been, tremendously active. Like most, investors, people will tell you they're sector agnostic, as are we. But for sure, there are verticals that, we prefer. And really, it's kind of a function of the appetite of our investors. Our investors within the network invest in their individual capacity. What we do is, we get a number of startups every year that are, whether they're vetted from the AUC Venture Lab. Today, we actually have with us two AUC Lab graduates, or those that we meet externally and syndicate with other investors, which was the case with Tarek's OTO. We're active in terms of, we get a number of different startup applications. We sift through, filter those, and then present to our network the ones that we find to be most promising.
Awesome. When did you start, Mariam? When was the
Formally towards the end of 2018.
2018? All right.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. And Ahmed, would you like to go next? Just tell us a little bit about you do and what your startup is about.
Sure. Thank you, Hala, and the team of aleUp Ventures. My name is Ahmed Mahmoud Abdeen. I am leading ElGameya. ElGameya is a fintech startup basically based on the ROSA model, which is rotating savings and credit association. The model is already existing in more than 100 countries and is familiar here in Egypt with the name of ElGameya. Simply, it's a peer-to-peer lending and saving. This model is existing more than 1,000 years ago in the Egyptian communities and society. Regarding to the World Bank, 16 percentage of Egyptians are doing informal savings in Gameya cycles, and we are operating since late 2019.
Awesome. And Sherif, would you like to go next?
Sure. Thank you, Hala. Thanks for the aleUp Venture team. I'm Sherif Radi. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Credit Fins. Credit Fins mainly is a fintech startup. We're tackling the credit card usage, and we're trying to revolutionize the way users do use their credit cards. So we help them spot any enhancements or improvements they can do on their spending, help them save money and get more rewards, and so on. Credit card is, growing with the financial inclusion direction to going banking to unbanked and so on. So the population is getting bigger and bigger, and it's very important to always have the users with all the personal finance management, spend management, and so on. We started back in 2020, just around the COVID period.
Oh, wow. It was a very tough time to start.
A tough time.
I would love to hear more about that, but very sad.
I have a lot to say.
Yeah, Tarek, please.
Hello, this is Tarek Nour. I'm the co-founder and CEO of OTO Courses. OTO Courses is considered one of the first and biggest online platforms in Egypt that teaches English and other courses that will be available soon online, live, through one-to-one sessions. We taught more than 35,000 learners so far. We have more than 150 instructors working with us on the platform. We have students from more than 30 different countries. We also teach the employees of more than 25 different companies, either national or multinational companies. And we raised 3 rounds of investment so far. And we were lucky to have AUC Angels, one of our early investments, and actually one of our biggest supporters so far.
Amazing, amazing, and amazing transition to my next question. So my question to Mariam is how is it different in AUC Angels actually to support those startups? I'm pretty sure there is a great methodology behind it, and it's also great value to the startups to have such a wide network and so many experts as well in the AUC Angels network.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you. So in fact, the AUC Angels team, I have to admit, is quite small. But what we, I think what really worked out for us is the process. The process was very clear, simple, consistent. And I think, and we really kind of spill it out from the very beginning. So the startups know what to expect. One of the things that we're always really keen on doing is making sure that everyone receives an answer. And really, sometimes you get emails or calls or messages on LinkedIn that is absolutely outside of, way beyond your scope, right? And even those, we take the time to write them. So that's one thing. I think that, so just to start with. So of course, these 3 startups absolutely, stood out amongst their peer groups. We saw so many. Interestingly, we met Ahmed, I think it was like 2 weeks before COVID hit. The first time we met in person, and then, everything kind of switched online. A month and a half later, we met OTO. Probably a cohort later for VLab, we met Sherif and Nour and Kamel and the team, you know, from Credit Fins. So interestingly, and this is not by design, but an interesting coincidence, I think, for this panel, is many of these startups were either for us, you know, the introduction happened during COVID, or COVID in many ways kind of enhanced our ability to work because, you know, because it was virtual. And at the same time, we had a lot of, you know, the Egyptian diaspora. There was a surge in membership in our network. From people within Egypt and the Egyptian diaspora. So even though it may have been hard for them, but for us, it was such an interesting time for us to kind of pick who we felt could be, you know, strong winners and show them to our then increasing network. And I think that had it not been for COVID and the fact that everything was virtual, maybe we wouldn't have been able to give them access to as many investors, you know, if we had met under different circumstances.
Absolutely, absolutely. I do agree. Are your angels more on the active side or in the startups, or a little bit more of you know, just the financial side of things?
It varies, but I think for the most part, many of them do view themselves more as financial investors. There probably is a handful that do, you know, aspire for more of a role in terms of co-building. All of them are available for advice and mentorship, 100%. Also post-transaction, there are quarterly meetings and quarterly kind of investor updates that are either sent or, you know, an actual, you know, virtual meeting is held. And that is always a really interesting opportunity for the startups to touch base with the investors and for the investors to kind of provide the feedback that they want to give, or for the startups. And I always encourage the startups to ask your investors for things, right?
Yeah.
That can help in terms of business development, networking, you know, assistance with future funding to the extent that they can, of course.
Yeah, it's always a great when you communicate, you know, like even if you if it's a very simple thing, but if you just communicate what you need, there might be someone in the network that can actually help or support in this particular issue. So so in a transitional a little bit into the Vested Summit and what we're doing at Scale Up Ventures as well. So I think you and as AUC Angels and I and us as Scale Up Ventures are very much aligned in our missions, I think, in the impact space. So it's what we call conscious tech and supporting those kind of startups that bring a little bit of impact to the world and solving real world problems, whether it's like education, healthcare, of course, at this point of time, very important, transportation, the water problem. So we align very much as Scale Up Ventures with the SDGs, the UN SDGs goals. And I think also AUC Angels is very much aligned with that. And this is the coherency that I think we need to find a little bit more into the partners that we align with in the region. So speaking of conscious tech and impact as well, so I wanted to ask each of our startups today, in one liner, can you tell us a little bit why did you start your startup?
Who should start?
What moved you? Whoever feels ready, like with the answer.
I can start.
What moved you? What's your personal story? Like what was the drive, this kind of like passion to change? Like what happened to that tells you, oh my God, this is it. I want to start this. Nobody's going to solve this problem than me. So I want to know the story.
If I speak about OTO, what actually moved us all to start the startup is we actually found that English in Egypt and the Arab world is not a luxury. People don't learn English in order to just watch movies or travel abroad. No, they learn English to find a better job. They learn English to be able to get accepted in a scholarship, to get promoted, to travel abroad for some kind of scholarship. So it's a must, or it's a key enabler for all the economic opportunities. I've seen myself, a lot of young Egyptians, all their dreams just learn English, so because they can easily double their salary. The most easy example that I can mention with that is the call center. If you work in a call center, you work in an Arabic call center, you receive X amount of money. If you just switch to the English call center, you at least receive 2 to 3x the money for the same job, but you just have English. So when we saw this, and like, why don't we do something about that? Why don't we help all those people to be able to pursue their dreams? So we believe that we're not just teaching a language. No, we are helping people to change their lives. We are helping people to improve, to find better jobs, to improve, and so on. So that's what actually moved us. And we've been in English for a while. Like, our main plan was to expand in other courses because our startup name is called OTO Courses. But since we found that the English specifically has a huge gap and has a huge demand, so we are still trying to fill this gap before we add more things. So that was the story of how it started and how it continued focusing on in English until this moment.
Amazing. Do you have like a little bit of statistics about the demographics?
People that study with us?
So where they tune in from, or like their nationalities, or
people 20 and 30 years old. Can you hear me well?
Now I hear you. Say again, please.
Yes. Mainly people between 20 and 30 years old.
Yes,
our main...
Okay, where do they tune in from? Like, are they in different governorates? Are they in different in the region?
Alexandria to Aswan. We have people from all over the place. Okay. We have people from all over, even other countries, not just Egypt.
Awesome. That's really a transformational solution for sure, because everybody, with the click of a button, can actually get access to such education, and something as simple as the English language, which could give you a 3x. You just said the amount of pay that you could get at the end of the month. So thank you, Tarek, for sharing that. And Ahmed or Sherif, anyone would like to go next?
Sure. Let me jump in. So basically, again, it's all about COVID. Being a credit card user in general, so all the team, me personally, and the other co-founders, we all face the problem with credit card. You don't know how to spend. You accumulated debt. You start paying off the debt. There's a lot of interest, and you go into this cycle. It's non-stop cycle. So especially with the COVID and the rise in the use of all digital payments, all the shift towards online shopping and all that, and some initiatives done in Egypt to postpone the payment of credit cards, and people weren't really aware of what does that mean. So we start seeing lots of customers who, matter of fact, putting more burden on their shoulders. So that's why we started this, aiming to help alleviating the financial stress from the users in general, and help them really better use their whatever financial line or credit they have, and helping them know what to do, what not to do, what they should avoid, and so on. So that's basically all to help. And maybe people who got trapped in that cycle, they become very frustrated. They start seeing that banks are, they steal our money. We don't want to use banks any further, which is not right, by the way. They just need it to be well educated to understand what they should be doing, and then start using all the financial channels properly.
And did you think that COVID actually helped the startup to push its growth a little bit? So you said it all started because of the COVID, but did it push its growth, and it was more exciting for the investors to actually invest?
Actually not at the beginning, because we were starting with the the phase of uncertainty, and everyone was trying to do the hold back phase where uncertainty, we don't know what will happen. So it took us a few months to be able actually to find the actual interest and be able to move faster. So I believe the AUC Lab and then the AUC Angels were of a great help for us in our journey as well.
Amazing. And switching to Tarek again, if you don't mind, I'll ask you the same question. Did COVID actually help you more in your journey of raising your investment rounds?
Definitely.
Since again you're an ed tech, so it's
Yeah.
I think once COVID started, everybody started shifting their mentality into like what's up next with education, and you know online learning. So did this help you actually or push a little bit like the interest of the
Exactly.
investors? Yeah.
Exactly. We got our first investment in 2018, and that was after 2 years of work. We've been working since 2016, so it took us like 2 full years of hard work in terms of getting an investment and being able to capture market share. Because, by the way, speaking in 2016 or 17 in Egypt about online learning and to have this kind of service, people did not believe in that at all. Like we're talking now, we feel it sounds normal and it sounds very like easy because now we're all doing it. But in 2016 and 17, either events or learning was like kind of even unacceptable by most people. So this COVID thing, it turned everything upside down. People started believing in edtech in 24 hours. In terms of customers, people start asking for the service more. And same thing, investors started looking at edtech with another eye, very different. They saw opportunity in it, and they started to believe that it's coming right now. So it's the best time to start taking action in that. And we got our most of our investments. We got it after COVID.
Absolutely. I want to go back to, thank you, Tarek. I want to go back to Ahmed to share with us again why you started your startup, what was your drive, and what was your motivation?
Actually, I was aiming to marry, and I
Oh,
yes,
really?
yes, Mariam know the whole story about that. I was aiming to
Congratulations.
marry, but I wasn't financially stable, and I couldn't afford it. In I think in late 2018, and I got into depression and blah blah blah.
Wow.
So
Wow.
then I started to think about the whole situation in Egypt. How many people are aiming to marry every year? How many private schools in Egypt? We still 70. I think more than 70% of Egyptians still unbanked totally, and
Mm,
always going to traditional ways like ElGameya, but they don't
mm,
have the dynamics or the solution of digitalizing the concept and the money transfer and any solution that help them to afford their life. So I
mm.
decided that I have to help people with something that has a social impact on their lives to help them afford their whatever needs or aims. And eventually, we now we serve more than 35 of our portfolio in Upper Egypt.
Wow. حلو قوي. So okay, so thank you, Ahmed. Mariam, I want to go back to you a little bit and talk about impact investing as a term, since it's a conscious tech summit and impact is all what we want to talk about also besides the technology and besides the investment. So what does impact investing mean to you, and what does return on investment mean to you under this umbrella?
Um, I have to say it's not one of it's not formally part of our investment thesis, but I think we have a natural tendency to be biased towards startups that have that impact. Let me kind of frame it within the context of these startups. I remember very clearly the moment in the conversation I had with each of them that was an inflection point for me, and kind of when we really kind of internally decided to go for this. With regards to OTO, he told me, learning English for some people is the difference between night and day. I remember that so well in that conversation. And of course, once you hear that, you know what he's talking about. It's a pain point that's very clear.
Oh, you're giving me goosebumps. Sorry for the interruption. Yeah,
Afandem?
go ahead.
Sorry?
You're giving me goosebumps with this.
Sherif, him and his team, throughout their pitch, there was so much emphasis on the importance of financial literacy. And no matter where they went with things, they kept kind of going back to that. Now, in many ways, you can assert financial literacy is not necessarily what's going to make money, right? But for them, that was their mission, and kind of, I think, the alignment of their values with what they were trying to do was so clear that it was definitely very inspiring, right? Because when you're choosing a startup, a very big part of it is you're trying to is the team. So when it's very clear that the values of that team are aligned with the mission, and that whatever it is they do, in many ways I knew that Credit Fins would probably pivot from when we spoke, because they were so early stage, but I knew that that was going to be the bullseye for them in the end, that target was going to be in front of them. As for Ahmed, I mean, come on. The idea is a winner in and of itself, right? I mean, it is, Gameya peer-to-peer lending, and I love the fact that, now everybody's, coin has a frame, has a phrase for it, peer-to-peer lending. But it is really the age-old way of borrowing and saving, amongst those that are off the grid. Yes. And what he's doing is that he's enabling it, he's making it, he's really modernizing it. And I think there's just something so interesting in that. So I have to say, it's not formally within our thesis as AUC Angels. Does it, so once again, the reason I told you I remember exactly what points in the conversation is because these moments do inspire you as an investor. And these moments also shed light on the kind of entrepreneurs that you're dealing with. Right?
Yeah, and at the end of the day, you're actually putting your bet and your investments in the people, and this connection point that you just mentioned for each and every startup is really important when you are looking for a promising startup and a promising team, and also because again, we are trying to educate the masses as well about investing and angel investing, and if they want to start investing in their savings in something else than the normal aqar, real estate or the stock and so on. So startups is actually a great space to start putting your money into and betting with your savings in winning teams. So make sure that you find this.
Can I just add something to what you're saying? You'll never feel bad about that kind of an investment, no matter how it goes. So let me just also say that. There are so many other, kind of really good startups that we've put money in that don't necessarily have that impact component. Many that I, also really believe in, very bullish about. But at the end of the day, we all know that there's a probability, right? All of these startups are going to look to their right, look to their left. Some of them are going to survive, others aren't. It's the reality. But an investor, when you put your money into an impact-oriented startup, I mean, regardless of how it goes, it's a feel-good moment, right? I mean, regardless of how it goes, you do feel like we did something positive.
Absolutely. So let me maybe go to ElGameya and Credit Fins, as you're both in the fintech space, and I know that you're both against the usual buy now pay later approach to fintech, and I see that this is also like under the impact umbrella, let's call it. So it's a conscious decision to actually create your business models under this tagline. So could you tell us a little bit more about that and what it means to you, Ahmed and Sherif?
Well, so actually, we are doing buy now pay later before it became a trademark now for the industry. Since our 60% of our portfolio already aims to buy product and doing Gameya for a specific aim or a specific goal to change his laptop, buy new mobile, traveling, etc. So we are doing a concept that is called consumer durable ROSCA, which is famous with the name of buy now, pay later. Right now,
And
especially
how are people receiving this?
we have a great potential for this because since Gameya concept is a peer-to-peer lending, usually our pricing is less than the normal pricing of the market. So it has a great potential, especially in Upper Egypt, especially with the women.
With the women?
Yes.
Okay, tell me more.
Second, more than the 50% of our portfolio is women, because women is familiar with the Gameya concept and they are their network and so on. They have the money even they don't work.
And with this, okay, let me take Sherif first his answer, and then I'll ask you both a follow-up.
Sure. On our side, we're all, as Mariam said, it's about financial literacy and having users take informed decisions. So we believe that our role is to make everything clear. There's this buy now, pay later option. There's this other option, and for the customer to choose what's best for him. But everything needs to be very clear from day one, so they do not start something, credit line, go spend all the money while they do not. This is the bank's money, so it's very unusual for the user to go and spend all the money here and there, and then, oh my God, that's not my money. I spent the bank's money. I have to repay it. So it's all about making everything very clear. Users can see everything on the app, see different options, how he spends, and then he takes a better decision whether or not to move specific buy now, pay later option. We ourselves start adding something in the future about the buy now, pay later, or skip it. But it's all about, again, the spend management and the personal finance management component.
And do you think, you Sharif, it's people are starting once they get informed, like you're saying, do you have any data on the decisions that they make accordingly?
Well, yes, for some users, yes. However, it's not only about unfortunately being informed, because it depends on the level of financial pressure and commitment. So it's very important to start being informed, and you keep on helping them navigate the different situations they have till they reach the point where they can really take the right decision without the fear of different burdens or anything. So I'll start with educating you and maybe helping you to sort a specific problem, and afterwards you'll have the better visibility on what to do and what to avoid.
Okay, so you don't have particular statistics or so that you can share with us about that?
No, actually the numbers are still very low, so definitely any number I'll say it's gonna be kind of biased. So it's
Okay.
we're serving a very low number of customers. So
fair enough. So maybe we come back in a year's time, and we ask you again this question. Inshallah. Okay, so maybe I can jump into the typical question of pain points for each and every one of you, including Mariam as well. Like if there are any pain points that in the journey of the startups, but also in the your journey as AUC Angels in finding them.
I would have to say there isn't too much of a pain point in finding startups. We are getting a lot more applications than we can request for funding than we can kind of serve. I think more so it has to do with the investors. There still remains a mismatch between the need for funding and the amounts being deployed. And it's interesting because I'm hearing these days kind of the opposite. people are saying, there's so much money to be given to startups, and startups are able to raise so much money. The reality is a select number are able to raise very large rounds. But raising seed funding, as all our panel knows, is a lot more difficult. And interestingly, later on, them being able to raise larger numbers, inshallah, does get easier. So it's just that initial kind of push that we find and is difficult. And I have to say, understandably, for the investors, right? They are seeing so many. Which ones do they place their bets on? There's so much that's not tangible, so many uncertainties. So I do also understand it, but I think it really has to do with just getting more people to join these angel networks.
And do you think you had challenges? How ready were Sherif, Tarek, and Ahmed when you first met them? And did you actually support them in becoming investment ready, or you thought, or after your due diligence, they were ready enough and they were ready to meet the angels?
We didn't do an investment readiness program. When we met Tarek, he had already raised. So that was one thing. Ahmed and Gameya and Credit Fins had graduated from AUC Venture Lab. So they had gone through that process. And by the way, actually, when they were in the program now, there's a larger portion. There's an investment, there's a lot more info sessions on the investment track, more than what they had received. So it really was about being impressed with the team, being inspired by them, liking their idea more than anything. There was a lot of depth and breadth to the Credit Fins team. And so I felt, as individuals, these were people that really could take this idea somewhere. Ahmed was just, the idea wasn't new, right? There's another startup that had done this and had done this before. But Ahmed was, still, despite there being one other startup that had done this at the time, he had such a unique idea. He had a different approach to it, for sure. And so really and his persistence, he was one of the most persistent startups. So I don't know really if they were necessarily investment ready. Who's ever, it's difficult to kind of ascertain, but I know the qualities that they, each of them showed that made us, decide to give the green light. And so once again, Tarek and the team also, I have tremendous admiration for them, but because they had raised, so they were on that track already.
Okay. And since we're running out of time, so I want to ask two more questions before we run off. So for Sherif, Tarek, and Ahmed, could you share with the audience and also for aspiring entrepreneurs, what was one realization maybe that you had throughout your journey that made you maybe more resilient? Or I'm pretty sure the journey was, ups and downs all the time, but what was this one realization or like a flip of the coin that maybe got you a little bit more resilient? It's like, one more day, I can make it, I can do it, one more day.
Well, I have a very important realization that most people who haven't gotten an investment yet always say, I'm just waiting, just give me money and you will see everything happening. The main realization, one of the most significant ones, is that money doesn't do everything. Even if you have money, that is not a guarantee of success at all. So this is a big realization I realized that during the journey, that no, you have to be creative, you have to be very persistent, you have to find smart ways to grow, how to use this money, how to spend it, this is the most important thing.
Awesome. Thank you, Tarek, Ahmed, and Sherif.
Let me take this. For us, there was a phase where it was really difficult, and one of the very first triggers was one of the customers who we actually served them, and he came back really happy out of that during a very tough situation. So if this happens to the customer or to the user, definitely we'll pass through this and we'll be able to serve more and more users. So that was a very
Absolutely.
important thing.
Absolutely. They always give us, the
The reassurance and
the
things will.
reassurance. Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you for the word. Yes. And Ahmed.
Actually, we had many critical points. Every investment rejection we got, I consider it a very good milestone for for a Gameya team to be creative and to bootstrap while getting money and another ticket from any VC or super angel is. As every startup, we have very limited financial resources, so we have to bootstrap our financial resources and to be smarter, not harder.
Hello, جدا. Thank you. And last but not least, in one sentence, since we really have to go, and Mariam as well, you're most than welcome to answer this question. Under this year's theme of Vested Summit, it's the harvest theme. Since again, we are celebrating 10 years of tech entrepreneurship in the region, and we are bringing you guys on stage to actually highlight your stories and tell the global investors around the world that some of the great solutions that are coming out of the region. So we are seeing the harvest of the 10 years of investments that have been done, and those successes are great basma, yani, what's it called, the fingerprint of that. So I wanted to ask you in one short sentence to tell me a reflection, since it's at the end of the 2020, we're at the end of 2021, a reflection of what you would like to harvest on a personal level or on a professional level by the closure of 2021 or 2022 as you put your intentions for the new year. Personal level, professional level, one sentence, go.
I'll start on a professional level, definitely just increasing the investor base for sure, and the diversity within that, including seeing females and people across different sectors and ages, and also people across sectors and ages.
Hello, good. Thank you, Mariam.
For us, on a professional level, I aspire that we start to grow more in other countries and start our step in growing OTO courses and having more things about English that we've been having for the past couple of years. So if I reach that, I'll be like very happy.
Hello, good. Yes. And Sherif or Ahmed?
It's mainly its growth and impact.
Okay, so, on the professional level.
Yes.
I can add something. Hire slowly, fire quickly.
Fire slowly? Hire slowly? Hire slowly. Okay. I was like, okay, so fire quickly. That is very important. Guys, it's very, I think it's a good note to end on. It makes the difference between, get it, you make it happen or you don't. The lifetime of the startup is in this quote. So thank you so much for everyone who joined, and Brett, I leave it to you. Sorry for the delay. Mariam, Sherif, Ahmed, and Tarek, it was a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Brett, you're on mute.
Okay, thank you. Sorry about that. So yeah, thanks again, Ahmed, Sherif, Tarek, and Mariam for sharing the personal and inside story of your experiences, and thank you, Hala, for moderating that. We've got our next panel discussion coming up is also on the theme of investment success stories, and I know from where I'm sitting, I see all of these investees and investors and all of us really as an ecosystem, as a community of practice here, sharing this collective intelligence and sharing our experiences and helping to create really new narratives on the planet. So I really enjoyed hearing about the personal stories, and I'm looking forward to the next one. And I'm really proud, I think, actually, to say as part of Vested Summit, we get to hear these stories and we get to share this collective intelligence and really create a new narrative on the planet for investment. So on one scale, I think we're all harvesting what it means going forward based on all the things we've learned the past decade or so. And one of the interesting points to me will be to see what patterns and what themes emerge coming up in this second talk. So thank you everyone for tuning in. We're gonna start up the next panel. This is Vested Summit 2021, the world's largest conscious tech summit, and we appreciate you for showing up and watching our panels. Thank you so much.